going to come and bite you. And that's exactly what is happening with Pakistan as well. Jim Rice, professor of international law, joining me. He's in Philippines. Jim, the same question to you about the need for countries to come together today to fight terrorism at a global level. Because I say this because, you know, despite a number of times that India has raised objections to the IMF loans being handed down to Pakistan, which was done very recently right after the attack took place, or pushing India's agenda to put Pakistan in the FATF grey list, which Pakistan has miraculously been pulled out of. China support, no difficult way to gauge how that happened. Do you think it is important today for countries to unite, and especially countries who have a strong standing in the international arena, to support each other, because terrorism does not have borders?
Thanks very much for having me on. On a personal note, I'm now living in the Philippines, and I think that this initiative of India's to try and unite against terrorism in Southeast Asia is a really good idea. Just in reference to your previous speaker, I lived in Hong Kong for 27 years and taught at Lingnan University, which is not far away from Baptist. But in any case, trying to address your point, speaking as an American, America has been the victim of terrorism, and I think we can all agree that terrorism is an evil that needs to be opposed. And I think that India's initiative of reaching out to other nations around the world in an effort to unite against terrorism is a good one.
Right, absolutely. Also, what do you make of the current state of affairs, especially when India has been, telling the world, and its long-standing position on Kashmir has been amply clear that it is an internal matter of India. It is about the sovereignty of the country, and it is a matter that is going to be resolved between two countries, India and Pakistan. There is no third-party involvement that is required. Now, do you find US President Donald Trump's stance in this entire situation a little lopsided or skewed, and his increased closeness to Pakistan in terms of providing economic aid, those $400 million US worth of funds that were provided to Pakistan to maintain its F-16 fleet to quote-unquote fight terrorism, once again utilized against India in a military standoff just a few days ago, talking about the crypto agency that is run by Trump's son and son-in-law being signed with the Pakistani leadership. You have those pictures with the Pakistani army chief and the Pakistani president, all of them in that one frame, celebrating that huge deal that is going to perhaps make Trump's bank accounts even more lucrative, and for that matter, and then coming about and speaking and talking about India and Pakistan and hyphenating India and Pakistan, talking about how and equating India to Pakistan. Do you find these to be anomalies, something that needs to be rectified and taken serious concern?
Well, if we can just go back to the root cause here, the attack in April in Kashmir by the terrorist organization which had received safe haven or had bases in Pakistan was reprehensible and needs to be condemned by everyone. India's response was measured and targeted at military targets, and it was justified. Now, you asked about Donald Trump's response. I think most people know that Mr. Trump is somewhat transactional. He tends to, lack core ideological convictions. And again, it's difficult for me to kind of fathom where Mr. Trump's head is at on any given topic. However, again, sorry, have I answered your question?
Yes, you have. Yes, you have. Before I let you go, Professor, Professor Rice, just then, on a parting note, how do you think these efforts, again, whether we talk about the UNSC and India wanting to designate the resistance force, which is clearly the offshoot of Lashkar-e-Taiba, a globally designated terrorist organization, keeping in mind there are obstacles, there are challenges, because this year Pakistan is also part of the non-permanent UNSC members. We have been fighting this battle for the last 2 years, wanting the resistance front to be declared as an offshoot of Lashkar-e-Taiba and be declared as a globally UN designated terrorist organization. If the UNSC is going to drag its feet on taking such decisions, what faith can any country have in getting justice?
Again, getting back to my previous answer, I think that India's response to the terrorist attack in Kashmir was proportional, and it was targeted, and it was justified. Furthermore, I would like to add that I think that India's current initiative to reach out to other nations in Southeast Asia, including the Philippines, is really a welcome gesture. And I'm happy to be from the Philippines, and I'm glad that you mentioned. I'm glad that you mentioned the attack that occurred in the Philippines years ago.
Yes. All right. Thank you, Professor Rice, for joining me and sharing your views. I also have with me right now Professor Greg Bart.